Hello odd ones, thank you for clicking back into the channel. My name is Z Solom, and we have just touched a giant sucking orb that has taken us to a mysterious place. So, without further ado, let's figure out where we are. As you wake up from restless dreams, a bright light shines into your eyes. It feels like a burning sensation directly penetrating into your brain. After the initial shock, you gradually come to your senses. You are no longer in the lighthouse. You find yourself in a huge, round chamber made of dark, smooth stone. Curved lines adorn the walls and give off a soft, fluorescent glow. You begin to wonder how many hours you've been knocked out. Did you have a stroke? No wonder, given all the stress you constantly put yourself under. A sound, a chirping and clacking that vaguely reminds you of insects. Only it's louder, and it seems to be coming from directly behind you. Something's in this room with you. You turn around quickly, trying to find the source of the clacking sound, and you regret it immediately. Hideous, bizarre monsters are lined up in front of you like on the set of a bad horror movie. They're basically just huge cones of flesh covered with a thin film of slime. Oh, hello. You instinctively think of slugs, your landlady. Oh man, this legendary landlady that we keep talking about. Fond memories from a hot evening one August. Mrs. Voldegart was once again upset about a missing payment, scolding you and at the same time sweating in the yellowish light of the evening sun. Sweat formed on her face and collected on her upper lip. You were completely hypnotized by the sight, which was not conducive to the ongoing rent negotiations. But right now, you have other problems. The flesh cones are a bizarre sight. Your mind is having trouble processing what it sees. At the top of the flesh cones, there are 4 tentacle-like growths, each ending in a different organ. 2 form huge, sharp claws that appear to be clicking incessantly. Another one ends in a jumble of trumpet-like tubes, and a 4th one forms what you think is the head of the creature. A round organ with 3 eyes, a set of feelers above and a ring of tentacles just below. Half a dozen of these creatures now stare at you from their bright yellow eyes, clicking their scissors menacingly. One of the beings breaks away from the group and comes towards you with its claws raised. You do the only rational thing. You try to run, you prepare for a fight, you start to scream. Screaming did not help us last time. Running away did? Did it? No, we prepared to fight, so let's do it again. We're going to prepare to fight. You have no idea what planet these monsters come from, but they have never had to deal with a private detective from Boston. The creature moves like a snail. It has no legs. Rather, its base keeps expanding and contracting. This gives you enough time to analyze its weak points. You reckon that it's about your size, and although it looks scary, you don't think these spindly arms can exert much force. His neck in particular seems to be a weak spot. 1 or 2 hard hits on the head should put this pathetic barnacle out of business. You raise your fist aggressively, but instead of your hands, these scissors at the ends of tentacles appear in front of your eyes. You stare down at yourself in disbelief and find yourself transformed into a monstrous vermin. Oh no, we're one of them! Where you were expecting to see your legs, there's only a fleshy cone from which 4 tentacles grow, a pitiful claw arm, a trumpet-like extension, and your neck. You are no longer in your own body. What is happening to me? You ask yourself, but you already know it yourself. You are one of those monsters. You faint. You should be able to understand me now. You open your eyes. You are still in the same position where you lost consciousness. Only a brief moment seems to have passed. But what is this pinching feeling on your neck? Looks like a small device has been attached to your new body. Waking up in a new body is disturbing. I understand that. So first of all, let me reassure you that this state is not permanent, and when you return, you won't remember anything. You hear the voice not through your ears, or the comparable organs in this body, but directly in your head. What you hear is the clicking of scissors. I've attached the translation device to you. We can now discuss all the questions you no doubt have. Evidently, the beings communicate with each other via their scissor hands. So what would you like to know? Who are you? Where am I? What has happened to my body? Mention your vegan diet. I have no questions at this stage. Let's mention our vegan diet casually. First thing any good vegan will bring up. I'm hungry. I only eat vegetarian food. Do you have good vegetarian snacks? The creature nods confusedly. Strange question, but yes. It is very important that the food is completely plant-based. Oh, don't worry. We are vegetarians. There are no other food options. Our species has evolved to the point where we have been feeding ourselves for ages without harming other intelligent life. Somehow, this answer doesn't make you as happy as it should. There's no sense of that usual feeling of morale superiority that settles in when you talk about your eating habits. You feel a little down. The Yith clacks insecurely with its scissors. So, should I get you something to eat? Oh, never mind, you say glumly. I'm not that hungry after all. So what would you like to know? Alright, so we know that they're Yith, which I guess I would have found out if I would have clicked the first one. Who are you? The creature straightens up. We. The translation in your head begins with an air of gravitas. The great race of Yith. We are the wisest species in the whole of creation. Countless eons ago, but also in the distant future, we made it our mission to gather all the knowledge of the universe. We have sent out agents through space and time to observe and study. When we learned of our demise in this way, we transplanted our spirits en masse into this form that you now see before you. Your new friend seems to want to do a playful parade to show off his body, but since he is resting on a slimy snail's foot, the process takes a good 2 minutes. Snazzy, isn't? So functional and sturdy. His scissors rub against each other, which your device translates as bashful coughing. It's kind of cute. Anyway, to answer your questions more directly, I am Marathon. My colleagues and I are archivists in the Great Library of Penactus, Department of Human Studies, Western Hemisphere Subdivision, Pre-Nuclear America Working Group, or as we call ourselves, the Tough Ambiocytes. As if they rehearsed it before, the other Yith in the room begin to shout, Tough Ambiocytes! Great, they're nerds. Ask another question or pre-nuclear America. Yeah, let's figure out what the nuclear holocaust does to us. What do you mean by pre-nuclear America? We've had nuclear power stations for a while now. Mernt makes a dismissive gesture with his hands. Well, Claw. Oh, don't worry about it. So what would you like to know? So where am I? That's a good question. The creature is thinking. You are in Australia. Huh. You've always imagined Australia differently. The important question is, when are you? Clicks one of the beings from further back in the room. The creature close to you abruptly turns its long neck towards the heckler. Damn it, Frick! That's my favorite part of the newcomer lecture. Don't spoil it for me! Although you do not yet have much control over your new body, you can apparently roll your eyes. Okay, when am I? But the creature in front of you seems to be in a huff. Man, it's no fun now. You are in Pangea in the Permian period, in the late Paleozoic era, where in the distant future, Australia will one day arise. About 250 million years before we picked you up. Okay, so time travel? I've traveled through time. Now it's the creature's turn to roll its eyes. Ugh, to make this brief, yes, you did. Yes, like on the TV, just completely different. No, we do not keep a record of lottery numbers. No, we have no interest in killing fascists while they're still children. No, we cannot start any paradoxes. The universe is predetermined, and free will is an illusion. Yes, that can be a bit depressing at times, but also very liberating if you think about it, if for a moment. Yes, we also know about Back to the Future. Any other questions? Yes. If you can time travel, why do I have to wait here for years for my body to be released? Would it not be possible to send me back to the point of time where your colleague leaves my body at this very moment? The creature nods slowly. Yes, you'd think, wouldn't you? No further explanation seems to be forthcoming. Ask another question or ask about sports bets. Let's see if we can, increase our fortune in the future. There must be some way to make money off of this situation. Fine. No lottery numbers. What about sports bets? The creature throws his scissors in the air in frustration.
What is with you people in sports? I once watched a 100-meter race done by one of our subdivisions. The 2 most boring days of my life.
2. Alright, so let's say, what has happened to my body? What has happened to my body? The translator transformed your thoughts into clicking sounds. You can only hope that the pressing nature of your question has not been lost in translation.
Yes, that's the unpleasant part of the lecture. You touched one of our carefully placed transmitters, so your mind was switched with one of our agents.
Carefully placed transmitter? You mean that cube? The cube at the top of the abandoned and locked lighthouse in the forgotten backwoods village in the middle of nowhere?
I guess. The transmitter is placed in a way that ensures that it is only found by people who are not easily missed. While you are here, our agent is gathering vital information about your society and environment using your body. You are here to remain in the body and must wait until he has completed his mission. Then, we will erase your memory, so you won't take any of our superior knowledge with you and send you back.
And how long does this normally take? The creature answers sheepishly.
Oh, 3 to 10 years max.
This information hits you like a kick in the stomach, which in this body seems to be at the bottom of the fleshy cone. It's a very unusual feeling.
3 to 10 years? You mean Earth years? What am I supposed to do in the meantime? Well, we've got lots of things to read around here. Also, we'd like to write down your life story for us. An autobiography for the Great Library, preserved for all eternity. A bit of immortality most beings in this galaxy dare not even hope for.
Oh dear. But I'm on a mission. But I'm on a mission. I need to find a little girl. People are counting on me. The creature looks at you with something that, even despite the strange facial features, you manage to recognize as skepticism.
If your mission was so important, why did you waste so much time in the lighthouse?
Good questions, actually. So, I thought the little girl was in the lighthouse. How many times do I have to say this?
You need to accept that your mission is over. Try to use your time here productively. So what would you like to know?
Well, I guess I have no questions at this stage. The creature seems to be baffled by this.
Really? None?
Nope.
Okay. In that case, we'll set you up for training so you can get to know your new body a bit better. Once you've made some progress, we will teach you to write in Yith, and then you can start with writing down your life story. Frank, can you give me a hand here?
Frank arrives with a machine that looks like a mix between a forklift truck and spatula. He carefully scrapes your currently still useless snail body off the floor and transports you out of the room. First, you learn to control your new body. The trumpet-like extensions, which simultaneously serve as a breathing organ, mouth, and waste outlet, prove to be the biggest challenge. You can only eat if your whole body is working on the task. You almost suffocated several times while eating. You sincerely hope that the agent using your human body is doing a better job of it. Then, you start to learn the curved script of the Yith. In fact, everything in the culture of the Yith is curved, smooth, or circular. They have an extreme aversion to right angles. When you ask Frank about it, he replies something about the dogs of Tinadal, who live in the corner of time and hunt time travelers. Fair enough. You start to settle in. All in all, Yiths prove to be quite boring people once you actually get to know them. Their bodies do not allow for much mobility. They have no sense for fiction, and they reproduce via spores, a very impersonal process which ensures that sex and love and all the dramas associated with them are completely unknown in their society. Since you are living in a host body, you are not allowed to take drugs or participate in any exciting or dangerous activities. The vegetarian food of the Yith is either very bland, or their taste buds are not very developed. Perhaps it's by design, since this species takes in and excretes food through a single organ. You would kill for a bag of potato chips. Then comes the point where you're asked to write down your autobiography. You write a truthful account of your life, a mix between spy stories and adventure novels with a sprinkle of karate. Let's go with karate. We are karate experts. We have been on some great stories, and honestly, our life up until this point has been very boring. So let's tell them a fictional story. Your fictional biography has it all. Excerpts from your life as a secret agent, bomb countdowns that are interrupted only at the last second, exaggerated romances with the political enemies, twists, It's all completely fabricated, but you don't care about that. You have created a piece of pretty damn entertaining literature that will get the various juices of many a Yith a-flowing. If you regret one thing, it's that there are not enough explosions. Scenes with hackers, briefings with the presidents. Explosions. We gotta go with explosions. This isn't a Michael Bay story, and it should have been. Maybe the movie will be better. You give a shrill hoot, the Yith equivalent of a deep sigh. It'll have to do. Otherwise, you'll end up rewriting the whole thing. After a few dull months, it's finally time for a party. In a large hall, one of the archivists gives an extremely long and boring lecture on the importance of rapeseed oil in various human and post-human civilizations. All the Yith gather around small bar tables in the area and listen intently as they sip on nourishing slime, which is slightly sweeter than usual. Afterwards, there is a competition in solving quantum equations. The different working groups, complete with nerdy and terribly boring team names, compete against each other. The Archivists of your working group, the tough Ambiocytes, are kicked out early on by the Atlantic Prehumanities and the persistent Platyhemelites to lukewarm applause. It is particularly an orgiastic celebration by Yith standards. For you, the most important part of the evening is the first contact with other guests of the Yith. Other beings, pushed out of their bodies by the agents of the library and hurled through time, stand around in their guest bodies and talk to each other quietly. Fortunately, they have small name tags on which you can see not only their names and working groups, but also their species of origin. With you at the table are two creatures who are identified as Gregor, post-Mohammedan Eurasia, Homo sapiens, and Zizikal, daughter of Kuzikal, second Amazon desert epoch, Megaperia planeta technoglocus. Geikis. These words are hard. You have the urgent need to talk to someone to avoid dying of brain hemorrhage due to boredom. You talk to Gregor Zizikal. Well, Zizikal sounds like another alien, so let's find out about her. Oh. Right there in front of you stands the mind of a completely alien being in the body of another completely alien being. How do you even start a conversation like that? Zizikal's feelers start to twitch. Hey baby, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? What actually is a Megaperia plantia? I'm just gonna stand somewhere else. Let's flirt. Flirting has helped us a lot, right? Or not at all? I don't know. Let's flirt. Hey baby, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? You know exactly how to talk to strange beings. After all, you've been on blind dates before. Zizikal looks at you irritably. Of course it hurt. But how did you know that I had cramp in my wings once? Because when I look into your eyes, I think you must be an angel. Wait. What? You're halfway through your chat-up routine before you realize it's going somehow differently to normal. Zizikal seems very confused. What is this about? Are you trying to chat me up? Is this some kind of mating ritual? Okay, human. My ancestors evolved from giant cockroaches, but even I find this pickup line too trashy. Ask about something else. Giant cockroaches. Let's ask the obvious question. Giant cockroaches? Giant cockroaches. What a strange thought. How did you manage to survive with all the surrounded humans? Oh, I only know humans from prehistoric museums. They've gone extinct. Apparently you can't cope as well with radiation as we do, which is strange since it was you who contaminated everything with radiation. What do you mean contaminated? Well, after the big war in which you wiped yourselves out. We would never do such a thing, or I'm sure that's far off in the future. We would never do such a thing. We're an optimist. Global peace. We would never do such a thing, you say, and are astonished by how insecure your own clacking sounds. Zizikal's head wobbles a bit. Of course not, she says. You could swear that she just rolled her milky white eyes. Her feelers start to twitch again. Well, now that we know that she's a cockroach, I guess we find out what a Megaperia plantia is? What actually is a Megaperia plantia? Zizikal begins to look dreamily into the corner of the hall. That is an excellent question. Are we the sum of our experiences, or are we out of actions? Are we products of our environment, or do we have free will? What makes me me? A lesser detective wouldn't have been able to do anything with that answer, but you hung out in enough student pubs in your time to recognize a first-year philosophy student when you hear one speak. No, I mean biologically speaking. What is a megaparaplantia? Do you come before or after humans? Well, she already said after. Her eyes focus again. Oh, megaparaplantia are descendants of beetles that must have lived in your time. We come about 500,000 years after humans. I believe you call our ancestors cockroaches? A giant cockroach discussing philosophy. And we tried to chat it up. How great are we? Your two worst party encounters rolled into one. Ask something else. I guess we have no choice, and... I'm going to go stand somewhere else. Because that's all we can say to them. Your instincts to lead this place begin to gain the upper hand. I'm just going to go stand somewhere else, you say by way of clacking your scissors and then moving your fleshy body a few yards away from Zizzical. Fine, she clacks back. Talk to Gregor or leave the party. Let's talk to Gregor. Maybe he's more interesting. Another human being. The first contact in months you've had with another person. You turn to Gregor. So, haha, it's nice to meet a fellow human being. What exactly are you from? Gregor's Yith head flops towards you. He seems to have been lost in thought, but you have the feeling that he is happy to have an opportunity to talk.
Is this true? Another human being? I'm so happy to finally be able to talk to a comrade. My name is Gregor Ivanshakova. I'm from Kiev.
Yeah, that is a very bad Russian accent. I apologize, but I'm not going to stop. Gregor's head flops about rhythmically. And when are you from? And when are you from? Greg's upper tentacles briefly twitches. Only a few seconds later do you realize that it was probably an attempt at a tired smile, performed by a person in a body that meets exactly 0 of the anatomical requirements for a smile.
The last thing I remember is celebrating Labor Day with my friends. That was in 1980. I was promised that in 6 years at the very latest, I would be allowed to go on with my life, and I will. Chernobyl, here I come!
Luckily, you're currently in a robust Yith body because your human face would be chalk white right now. You warn Gregor of Chernobyl? Don't say anything. Let's not bring it up, you know? But he's gonna go back to 1980, isn't he? Nah, let's not screw up anything. Let's just not say anything. You know? Nah, we'll warn him. It's the right thing to do.
I'd stay away from Chernobyl, mate. You warn him with a slow clacking of your scissors.
What? But why? He clacks back. At least now you have his full attention.
Well, Chernobyl, you continue. Everyone knows about Chernobyl in my time.
Gregor's eyes widen.
Yes? Why is that?
Well, because of the reactor incident or big vodka scandal. Let's warn him, okay? We're not going to, trick him into thinking that he's going to get a lot of vodka if he goes there.
There was this awful reactor incident and
Oh, damn it. If only you paid a bit more attention to things while you were still a human. You desperately try to combine the tidbits of knowledge you have in a plausible story.
Hundreds of acres of land were contaminated, maybe even more.
Gregor does not seem convinced.
It all sounds like to me you know very little about Mother Russia, my friend.
His scissors snip back and forth 3 times.
They have a strange sense of humor in the capitalist states.
Your honorable intention to warn Gregor of his potentially painful death is beginning to waver. The guy is slowly but surely getting on your nerves. What's more, he will have forgotten everything he's learned here in his time with the Yith. You've got to let him live his life. Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, that was, pointless. Alright, let's tell him our love for vodka.
I love vodka.
You clack your scissors, perhaps a little too enthusiastically. Gregor's head tentacles twitch slightly. The universal interplanetary sign for who doesn't? Gregor's heads flop about rhythmically. Comrade, we already know he's Russian, but let's see what happens. Or from Kiev. That's in Russia, right? I have no idea.
Tell me, Gregor, what country are you from?
Gregor appears to be standing up a little bit taller.
From the greatest country in the world, of course. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Only now does he seem to be reading your own name tag.
Oh, an American. Tell me, in your time, are the workers of your country finally free? Have the capitalist devils surrendered to communism?
He is waiting for your answer. Yes, you've shown us what's what. I wouldn't quite put it like that. As he's pointed out, we're going to forget everything anyway. So, yeah, you've shown us. Yes, you've shown us what's what. You agree with him without getting any more concrete. Ha! I knew it! Gregor cheers and his tentacles flutter about jubilantly. The childlike joy of this communist about the dominance of his country warms your no longer existing heart. Well, time to leave the party. Let's see what we can get up to. This is how you pass your time. Despite your initial bumps, you end up getting more closely acquainted with Gregor and Zizikal. Your shared fate is what ties you together. Over the coming months and years, you end up becoming friends and sharing common interests. You spend most of your time studying human history, trying to produce nicotine replacement. Well, what's the point of studying human history when we're going to forget it all anyways? So let's try to do something beneficial, like a nicotine replacement. After you have come to terms with the fact that a millennia-old race of researchers has stolen your body and planted your consciousness in an alien body, you have only one goal. You need a goddamn cigarette. Fortunately, all the knowledge of humanity is at your fingertips until you waste no time in recreating the deadly nicotine rolls that you love so much. The nicotine itself turns out to be the biggest challenge, but fortunately, the biochemists of the Yith have no objections when you turn up at their labs one day. With single-minded focus and ambition, you experiment with plant samples, bacteria, and carnivorous viruses to create the drug you crave so much. The enterprise gains momentum when Gregor finds out about your project and insists on supporting you. After countless plant samples collect from now perished planets have been destroyed in your experiments, you finally manage to produce a synthetic nicotine-like substance which you roll up into a bit of ancient parchment. It's only then you realize that a Yith without a mouth or his lung system is incapable of consuming a cigarette. No! Finally, the day has come. You're being led in the transport room. It's the same room you arrived in so many years ago. When the process starts, you overheard two of the librarians talk.
You have erased this participant's memory, right?
I thought you were doing that.
Oh shit. And you're gone.
Oh no, we remember everything! You wake up as you have woken up many times before. After drunken nights out in some dive bar, after some awful parties at which you drank yourself into a stupor. But it's different this time. The flickering before your eyes ceases. The agony and disorientation gives way to a sense of clarity that you have rarely felt. Your normally slightly hazy thoughts are clear, not a shallow pond, but a crystal clear lake. Your memory is filled with knowledge from the intensive studies you have undertaken in the great library. So much knowledge. Your gaze wanders to the room in which you find yourself. The room sits there calmly between these four well-known walls. You are at your home, on your sofa. Well, technically, it's not your sofa. It's a completely new one without the bugs and rats that had moved into a nest in the bottom. Everything is unnaturally clean, and the sofa doesn't seem to be the only piece of furniture that has been replaced. Later, you will find out that the Yith who had swapped places with you has not only used the 6 years for highly efficient studies, he has also applied for a position at the largest historical museum in Boston. Successfully, of course, because the Yith do not do things by halves. Your eyes light up as you read the numbers on your last paycheck. You hold the paper so close to your face that your nose brushes the paper. Twice a year, twice as often as you normally would, your possessed body has contacted your family, giving what appears to be completely neutral, boring, and meaningless confirmations that you are fine. There are postcards from your relatives sending greetings from their holidays. Postcards which say that they are proud of you, proud that you managed to turn your life around. That's certainly one way of putting it. The Yith has eaten well, fresh fruits, the prescribed daily minimum of vitamins, proteins, and fiber to make his studies as efficient as possible. The Yith has also exercised. In the bathroom, you look at your body and stretch it in front of the mirror. You take off one layer of clothing after another. 6 years have gone by. Intrigued, you look at your face in the mirror. A few more wrinkles for sure, yet you feel that your life is only just beginning. Whoa. Yith we can. You spent 6 years of your life among the Yith? As if you had anything else going on, of course, right? So, we failed the mission of finding the little girl that may or may not actually be a trap, and there is no such thing as little girl. But at least this time we got the good ending, right? Kind of? Alright, it's not the ending we were looking for. So, I suppose the next episode we will continue to the center of the town. There's a few places that we haven't explored there yet. We've only went to the police station and the alleyways, so I'm thinking that that might be our next best bet. So thank you everyone for clicking into the channel, and stay tuned for the next one. Goodbye!